What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a spoiler discussion, spoiler discussion review of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law Season 1, which of course is the latest Disney Plus MCU series. So, okay, I'm not going to make this a long video, but I have to talk about this series because I have thoughts. It is a spoiler discussion from the beginning. There will be no synopsis. It's just a spoiler discussion because I want to talk about especially the ending episode of this season. So just be aware. If you haven't watched the last episode, watch it before you come to this video. But She-Hulk is a series that stars Tatiana Maslany as, of course, Jennifer Walters / She-Hulk. She, of course, got the power thanks to an accident, of course, that she got from her, cousin, of course, Bruce Banner, played by no other than Mark Ruffalo. And this series is very much in the Ally McBeal era. It's 30 minutes long, which is perfectly all right. It's a series where she's a lawyer. She represents, other superheroes in this law firm. And it brings in back characters like Tim Roth, of course, as Abomination. It brings back Benedict Wong. It brings, people like Linn-Baker and Stephen Coulter and Jamil and Ginger Gonzaga and John Bass and stuff like that into the mix. It's a story. It's a series that really wanted to break the fourth wall, and I guess that's what She-Hulk does. And I'm fine with that. I'm always up for a new reinvention of the series, I guess you could say, of the MCU. Do something different. But once again, I'm going to harken back to the Jacob Anders Almost Awesome show. We talked about how we don't feel like the MCU has really kind of propelled since Avengers Endgame. But after Ms. Marvel, I was hopeful that this series, which I had heard was really good after people had reviewed the first 4 episodes, I was optimistic. And like I said, I like Shang-Chi. I like some of the other properties like Eternals. So a comedy based on She-Hulk, which is what it's very self-referential, breaking the fourth wall. I was looking forward to it. Well, the first couple episodes were fine. I thought they were entertaining. We get a very much an introduction to Jennifer Walters. We see how her world works. We of course get characters that are her supporting characters. This is a 9-episode season, so it actually is able to expand. And then it continues. We heard Daredevil's in the trailer. He's going to appear in this. Of course, brings back Charlie Cox, who of course was in Spider-Man No Way Home as well. He's getting his own series. But once again, it's a series that focuses on the law side aspects, the situational problems that come into effect when you have a superhero and how they destroy everything. And so this series, as it moves along, and I've mentioned tweets about it, I felt has kind of fallen off the cliff, to be fairly honest. It went to a point where 9 episodes, which seemed perfect, seemed to be actually a little too much for this show, because what starts out as a very interesting concept of her being a lawyer and the kind of ramifications of that, and her becoming well known as a new, of course, Bruce Banner goes off and does whatever he's doing, is fine. And then the breaking the fourth wall is fine. I find that interesting, but as has been explained, this episode does one-off episodes, like a wedding episode, and some things where she dates in another episode. I'm sitting here going, what the hell is going on? This is not what I was expecting. This is actually even worse than I was expecting. And once again, shows I appreciate the creator of the show, Jessica Gao, for trying, but it is mind-numbingly bad how much this show gets into really bad territory. This show becomes not funny. It misuses Tatiana Maslany's role as an actress in it, and it starts adding characters like Jamil, who plays Titania, which is one of the worst villains I've ever seen. It uses what Sharon Stone was in Catwoman, that really bad adaptation with Halle Berry, and makes her this heiress who tries to steal the naming rights to She-Hulk. It brings in this kind of complicated thing where of course Jennifer Walters finds a guy that she finds right for herself, and he ends up being a bad guy, and that brings in the character of John Bass as Todd, who is part of this society of bad guys and stuff like that who just want to take down She-Hulk. It's so I'm so frustrated by what this series did, because it had interesting moments, with the episode with Benedict Wong and that really ditzy woman who actually became kind of a popular character for 5 minutes. It tries to kind of lean into the idea of like the superhero genre and like how stupid and goofy it can be. And I didn't feel anything for this series. And then it gets to like the last couple episodes, which we're bringing Daredevil in, and like everybody was expecting Daredevil to come in sooner. But then they use Daredevil as like a kind of a comedic actor, which I hated. That's why Daredevil, the original Netflix series, was so good, because it allowed Charlie Cox to have this darkness to him, but have this kind of, feel of a good superhero character. And he decides he's going to have a relationship with Jennifer Walters, and they have sex. And yeah, some of the moments are funny and entertaining. It does lean on the tropes of like Daredevil's going to take an hour or half hour to beat up the guys, but Jennifer Walters is like, I can just do it in 5 seconds. And I think that's good. I think that's entertaining. And if they had just ended it there, they just ended that portion there with, Jennifer Walters, the character, the She-Hulk character at the very end, where she gets exposed for having sex and she goes off the deep end. If they ended it there, fine. That would have made a perfectly decent ending to us, like a cliffhanger, because there's definitely going to be a next season most likely. But then they have to have a season finale to the series, and it shows the ramifications of what happens when people turn on a very popular individual like She-Hulk, and that whole nature of what's going on. And what the problem becomes is this show, because it needs to break the fourth wall every 5 seconds, it actually goes so far meta that I almost thought it was a joke. I thought they were going into the route of the Matrix Reloaded with the architect. At some point, Jennifer Walters decides she's just going to leave her current situation where she's staying at her parents' house, go visit Emil Blonsky's character because he's been helpful and stuff like that. Of course, her her friends at the place she works at, the law firm who she's gotten fired from because of the whole incident, they decide they're going to track down who these very toxic individuals on the internet who are trying to expose Jennifer Walters. They go there and they're just like a bunch of typical nerd guys that are just it's really disgusting because it's just how it is in the world of toxicity. And they bring in Emil Blonsky, who is of course an abomination, and he goes in to talk to him and stuff like that. And of course we find out that Jennifer Walters is in the same location as this situation, as this hideout base. And at some point, Bruce Banner comes down. Todd, unfortunately, has the blood serum that they have taken from Jennifer Walters, and all of a sudden Jennifer Walters just stops everything. Emil Blonsky and Abomination are fighting Bruce Banner and all that nonsense, and it's never fully explained. And Jennifer Walters is like, no, we're not going to do this. And then she's like, this is not. Do you really want this to be the way this show ends? And then it clicks to the main title screen, or the main screen for Disney Plus. Okay, what's going on here? And of course she opens up the She-Hulk little icon that you would click to watch the show, and she starts looking for Marvel Disassembled or whatever it's called, that documentary when they do for every episode. And she jumps out of her own show and jumps into the real world of the Marvel Disassembled and walks through the Disney lot and talks to the writers of The Room, who would be, if you would think about it, if it was breaking the fourth wall, they'd be like, what the hell is going on? But no, they're like all cool with a She-Hulk in this, and they're like talking about, this is Kevin's decision. So you're thinking Kevin Feige. So you think Kevin Feige's going to show up. No. They have to go the architect route, where she walks into a room, which is the headquarters for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You see a big screen with like all the clips that you see in like the opening credits sequence that they do for every movie or TV show. They do that. And then we find out Kevin is Kevin, which is a robotic character, and they play out the fact that the whole idea of these ideas that Marvel is becoming stale and it's all a computer program, it's all a simulation, which maybe it's Kevin Feige trying to get some like angry issues off his chest about what's going on in Disney World. I get what they're doing, I understand what they're doing, but it ruins the show. It's the problem with Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not funny. It goes way overboard and completely ruins any infatuation or any excitement I have for this character, Jennifer Walters. They make jokes about, oh, she won't be in a movie, she'll be in another season. And it's just like Kevin's a robot, or like an AI program that just, has the computations of just like how they create shows. And they try to make jokes. Oh, it's all a kind of, it's all just kind of a buy, paint by number situation. And I'm like, cool, I get why you're doing this, but you're not funny. It's not, it's not good. There's nothing about this that makes any effing sense. And I was so infuriated by this idea that Marvel is trying to go so meta that they're trying to comprehend their logic and reasoning for why they're putting out so much crap. And this is completely. This is like when Star Wars Rise of Skywalker came out, or the whole idea of the trilogy came out. And I think Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie of the entire franchise. But that's just me personally. But I still think the idea of the sequel trilogy was a complete mess and nonsense. And that's the same thing here. After the idea of Avengers Endgame, you started creating this world that is the Phase 4 world that had no connective tissue, had no connective narrative. And it's the same thing here. All you're doing is going, yes, we know we have a lot of projects. Yes, we know they end the same way. So we're going to try and do something different. I commend them for trying to do something different, but you completely failed. I'm sorry, you completely failed on that logic and reasoning. She's able to change stuff around, and then it just kind of ends with Emil Blonsky going to jail, and Todd getting arrested, and Bruce bringing in his son Scar, which of course is part of I think World War Hulk or something like that. And then you end the series with, of course, Emil Blonsky being taken out of prison by Wong, which is another problematic situation. It's leading into Thunderbolts, which is what I believe is what it's leading into. It's going to have Wong and stuff like that, and of course Winter Soldier and all that good stuff. That ending middle clip is so that is the reason there was this whole setup of this group of people that were against the MCU, and it's just the thought and reasoning behind this. I get it, I understand it, but it completely falls flat, and it's infuriating, it's frustrating. And I appreciate that people like it, and I appreciate people enjoy this show. But once again, it's my frustration with the MCU where they are trying things and they're just not landing. That's why almost every show that has come out outside of WandaVision just doesn't work for me. And it's the same thing here. It feels like that we have a character by Tatiana Maslany who is a fantastic actress, and she's very, very funny when she works in this series, but when you throw in stuff like the twerking scene, which I know a lot of people like, but when you throw in that kind of stuff, and then you throw in this very meta ending to this season, it's like, why? What are you doing? What is going on? Disney, you are doing something that I'm sure Kevin Feige's like, I don't know what's going on in Kevin Feige's world. I don't know what he's having to deal with right now. But that whole ending is an absolute travesty of an ending. It's one of the worst endings for any Marvel thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I can't get on board with this series anymore. I'm almost ready just to take a break from the MCU. And I feel like, unfortunately, I can't, because you have the next property, which I need to review. And even though these reviews don't do very well, I feel like I have to be committed to a franchise I just no longer have an investment anymore with. And I don't know. It's problematic, and I'm going to be interested to see what the reviews come out, because I know some people I know enjoyed it, and it's bad. It's real bad. I can't deal anymore, man. I can't deal with these shows anymore. It's amazing. I'm so glad that a show like Andor came out to kind of be on the other end of the spectrum, because I'm so glad this series is over for the time being. I hope next season they fix it and kind of make it a little bit better than what it is, because the stuff they did in this first season is absolutely horrendous. You like I said, you have Renée Elise Goldsberry, you have Jamil, Josh Segarra, you have Tim Roth and Mark Ruffalo, and I don't know. Whatever. It's a terrible series, so I'm going to leave it there. So it's definitely near the bottom. It's of the whole entire MCU, with Hawkeye and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So anyways, with that said, that is going to be my take on the first season of She-Hulk. Sorry, this is how I feel. If you don't agree, that's perfectly all right. Let me know in the comments. But anyways, like I said, comments below. Let me know what you think of the first season. If you disagree, definitely let me know. I appreciate your comments. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell top to find out what's coming next. If you like the video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.